back to the Dice Towers coverage of Origins 2016. I'm here this time with Jeff from Guerrilla Games, and we're going to be talking about Battlestations 2nd Edition.
That's right.
So tell me what we got here and what's new in 2nd Edition.
Battlestations remains the only game where you've got simultaneous ship-to-ship and boarding action. So in this little scenario I've set up here, we've got our starship, which is headed towards the sun, but our helm is slagged. Oh no, what are we going to do? And there's a bad guy there who threw a grenade in there, knocked out our pilot, and slagged the helm. So in Battlestations, it's scenarios basically like this, where there could be an enemy monster, there could be an enemy crew, an enemy starship, wormhole navigation, any kind of weird stuff like a science fiction show, episodic adventure. And then the players work together as a crew on board the ship.
So this is how the very first turn, this is how it would start, with all of that set up, that
scenario? I kind of jumped us in the middle because we've only got 5 minutes.
Okay.
But generally what you'll get is a mission briefing, like we've got to go capture that ship, or we've got to gather a certain number of units of data, or rescue somebody off a planet. And then when you get there, there might be a twist where it turns out the guy you're rescuing is out to kill you.
Okay.
And that's where the enemy player comes into play. So each one of the players is a character on board the ship. So this might be me, my scientist here, who's sitting there in the teleporter, and you might be the unconscious pilot,
okay.
And then the enemy player is running the bad guy who came in here, Trunley, who threw the grenade in the helm. So what we're going to do is take our actions. Well, first thing that happens is ship movement, and our ship, since it's going at speed 2, we're going to go 2 hexes closer to the sun, and then all the players take turns to take their actions. So this guy might, let's say this is Eric's character, might come out here and use his combat skill to shoot at that guy and hit, do damage or whatever. Maybe he knocks that guy out. So now we got to figure out how we're going to get somebody into the helm to repair it before we slam into the sun.
So we have this that we're also, we have our own tactical area that we're using our characters,
yes.
But we also have this impending doom outside the ship that's showing.
Yes. So, and usually there's an enemy ship also.
Okay.
There might be missiles flying around on the map. It's really robust in that anything you can imagine, you can create a scenario for it.
It sounds like between the internal and external areas, there's a whole bunch of variation in how the missions can be set up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And that was one of the great fun things I did with the new edition is I got 30 of my designer friends to create missions, and many of them didn't really know the game, and they just said, well, I got this idea for instance, Ken San Andres had this troll world where people are fighting their way to the bottom of the troll world. And so there's a separate map where you're fighting your way through the trolls. Or Richard Garfield does know the game, and he said he's always wanted to do a time travel game, and here's this little nugget. And so I got to have him do a mission for me.
Sweet.
That was great, yeah. And let's see, James Ernest does this. He's known mostly as really a tight mechanics guy, but he actually wrote this really long story about this interesting synopsis for a mission that sounded like a Star Trek episode. And it was great that I got to sort of boil it down and say, okay, here's how it looks like a game. And so the game system itself is fairly simple. You're going to roll 2 dice and add your skill. If it's combat and you're a Marine, you get to reroll one of the dice, and pilots get to reroll piloting dice, engineers engineering dice, and anybody can do anything. So in this particular scenario, our pilot is down. We might not have time for me to get up there and heal him. We might have to just spend our time repairing the helm, and then make a piloting skill check even with no piloting skill. And that's where you're going to spend your luck and try to get it to work out for you.
So you can still push your luck and pull those things off. It's just if you're not specialized in it, you might have more of a challenge.
Exactly. And each character has a special ability which will make you special, like you'll get to reroll your personal damage, or you get rerolls when you're trying to turn the ship, or you can attack with 2 weapons at no penalty and that kind of stuff. So and every time you go up in rank. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. It's continuing characters.
I was going to ask if it was kind of like a campaign, because it sounds very episodic and story-driven.
Yes.
So I was wondering if it was kind of a campaign that goes from one to the next.
Absolutely. It can play as a standalone one-off, or you can play it as a campaign with campaign indicators. And either way you do it, at the end of the mission, your character is going to get experience and prestige and rank up and new skills and special abilities. You might find treasure, or you might get killed. There's clones, so if you get killed, your character comes back, but without any of the experience that you would have gained.
You lose the buffs and everything.
Yes. So what that means is death kind of hurts, but it doesn't just wipe out the party.
Yep.
The flip side of that is that the enemy player gets to play to win. He gets to play, all right, I'm not going to say, oh, well, you guys are about to lose, so this guy's going to drop a grenade on himself. No, he's going to throw the grenade in the helm and hope to try to blow up the helm again and kill me. So then I might spend luck to reroll the damage or whatnot. And that's one of the great mechanics in the game. I didn't invent this, but I really love it, is luck. That it's a certain number of rerolls you get, so that early on, if you had boxcars coming in and you have 7 hit points, that's going to knock you out. But if you spend a luck and reroll and reroll and reroll, you're going to get that down to where you can act. But by the end of the mission, when you're out of luck, then you're out of luck.
You're literally and figuratively.
And we're about out of time, too.
Yes. I just want to say then, so let's wrap up by telling us, where is this in the production timeline? When
It is scheduled to release in January of next year, and I wish to heck I would not have said a convention delivery, because everybody's saying, hey, why don't you bring it to Origins this year? So no, if you want it to Origins, you'll want it next year. And then nobody wants to wait an extra 6 months.
We'll definitely be looking for this January or early 2017.
Yes, sir.
In the meantime, Jeff, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Yep. And keep watching the Dice Tower for more coverage of Origins 2016. We'll talk to you again soon.